Hello, this is Ember from Ember Writes with your Imbolc ritual. This one is going to be a little bit different. There will be a little bit less calling in the deities. We'll just be focusing on Bree or Brigid, depending on how you call her. I think there's like a billion different names for her. And we'll be doing a little bit of craft work, as in arts and crafts, for making a little Brigid's cross. And I'll show you how to do that today. So whenever you're ready, go ahead and set your circle. And if you're just following along because you can't do it physically, that's perfectly fine too. Just imagine yourself doing it or say that you're doing it, etc. I cast this circle to protect me from all that may come to do me harm. I create a space beyond space and a time beyond time. The circle is set. And then whenever you're ready, go ahead and call in the quarters, or you can follow along with me. We summon the powers of the east, Brigid's bright powers of dawn. As you bring the light of the spring, bring the light of our work. Hail and welcome. And to the south, we summon the powers of south, the blazing fires of Brigid's forge. Shed all that does not aid our work. Fortify our work. Let it change the world. Hail and welcome. We summon the powers of west, the healing powers of the well. May our work flow and grow. May it stir and summon the depth of possibilities. Hail and welcome. We summon the powers of north, the strength of the cold mountains. Freeze all adversities. Solidify our desires with the weight of the frozen rock. Hail and welcome. By the powers of the fiery arrows, by the powers of the green earth, we summon Brigid, the exalted one. Hail and welcome, hail and welcome, hail and welcome. The circle is set, the quarters called. We are between the worlds. If there's any type of magic that you wanted to do, feel free, you can pause this. If not, we'll go ahead and get started working on the Brigid's cross. There are many different ways that you can create it. Some people will use reeds, some people will use raffia. Just kind of depends on what you have available. If you want to bring in some of her powers, you can use pipe cleaners like I did. White, red, and green are typically her colors. Red especially, considering her fiery red hair and the fact that she works with the forge, etc. And so you can choose however you want to do it. So the first step is taking any one of your colors, or maybe just one of your reeds, whatever you're using, and you'll keep that one straight to begin with. You'll take another one, your second one, and you'll fold it in half. I found with the pipe cleaners it was easier to just fold it in half and then put it around what I was working on. And you'll place it on the first pipe cleaner, the straight one, in about the center. And then you'll take another one and you will fold it in half once again. And you will place it around the second one. And initially, it might take a little bit of time to kind of get it finagled into place. And if you want here, you can now fold that first one so that you have 3 of the pieces together. And then you'll take the next one, fold it in half, and place it around the third one, so that you have essentially a cross. It's probably going to be a little floppy at first because it doesn't have the necessary pieces to solidify everything. And you'll continue doing that, taking another one, folding it in half, and this time you'll place it on that first one. And you'll continue doing that all the way around. And each successive one will go over all of the pieces. So maybe you can see it a little bit here. This one's going over 2 of them now. And the next one will go over 2 of them. And you can pick whatever colors you want. You don't have to do them all in a row, like I did for this one. And like I said, you could also do just one color if you wanted to do it. So you could do one in red, one in green, one in white. Or you can just mix and match the different colors. And while you're working on this, sometimes what we like to do when we're in a big circle with everybody, we like to discuss either what we're planning to do for the next however many months. Typically with Imbolc, it was meant to be a time where the earth was beginning to kind of warm up, flowers were thinking about blooming, etc. Kind of depends on where you live, though. That a lot of that was created in England, where the environment is a little bit different. The cycles of nature are a little bit different. And so maybe depending on where you live, this might feel a little more natural or maybe completely out of whack, like Florida. Florida doesn't really have a winter in the sense of things dying, not the same way that we do. Some things might go into hibernation a little bit, but not really. And then up here in Colorado, our winters are a bit longer, and so that means that the time in which spring really starts to spring is a little bit different for us. It's usually a bit later. There have been times where we've had snow all the way into May, occasionally June. So for us, it's a little bit different. Or maybe you could tell stories about Brigid. One of my favorite stories about her was she went to visit a couple of farmers, and she was going to have lunch with them, and while she was there, some thieves stole a couple of their ox. And she, being the type of deity that she is, decided that she wanted to help those farmers because they were kind and gracious to allow her into the home and feed her and take care of her, etc. So eventually what she did was she used her magic and ended up in the water bathing, and she basically enticed these men to strip down and come bathe with her. The men didn't have anywhere to put their clothing, so they figured, oh, the oxen have horns, we'll just hang it on there. And the oxen ran home because they were now free from the men who were stealing them, and the men no longer had clothing. And I just think that's the most hilarious story in the world. So depending on how far you've gotten, it'll start to look like a Brigid's cross. Might look a little wonky. Mine has just random pieces put together. And then what you can do at the very end, when it looks more like this, with all of the pieces, you can take little pieces of it and just wrap it around the ends to keep them all together. And so eventually, if you clip this off, it'll start looking like that. And these are meant to be for protection. Many times people will put them above their doors, their front doors. Depending on where you live, maybe you put it on the outside of the house, or maybe you put it on the inside so you're not telling all of your neighbors what you're doing, kind of. And really, there aren't too many people who will look above a door, so they might not even notice it. I definitely encourage you to take some time and read up on Brigid. She is an amazing deity. She has helped with healing. As I mentioned, she has worked with the forge. She is a very creative deity, and so she also will help with creative pursuits like writing. etc. So there's a lot to be said for her, and I think you might like to work with her if you feel called. At this point, if you want to do the cakes and ale, feel free. It's not so much about grounding, but maybe just celebrating either Brigid or celebrating that spring will be coming soon, etc. Feel free to pause this if you want to do that. Otherwise, we will close the circle. Starting in the center, looking up at the sky. By the grace of the fiery arrows, by the nature of the green earth, hail Brigid, the exalted one, with thanks for your gifts, blessings, and attentions. Go if you must, stay if you will. Hail and farewell, Brigid. Turning to the north, farewell to the powers of north. As you came in peace, go in peace as well, but leave strength in our work. Keep our adversaries in your icy grasp. Hail and farewell, north. Farewell to the powers of west. As you came in peace, go in peace as well, but leave your misty whispers on our work. Wash away the obstacles to our manifestations. Hail and farewell, west. Farewell to the powers of earth, of south. As you came in peace, go in peace as well. But leave your sparks of manifestation. Allow the embers of our work to grow. Hail and farewell, south. Farewell to the powers of the east. As you came in peace, go in peace as well. Though the day passes, the work of the sun remains. Remain also with our work. Hail and farewell, east. And then eventually allowing yourself to close or open the circle, however you wish to do that. That may be cutting a doorway into it, maybe releasing it in different ways. Releasing that energy out into the world, to the people who need it, the animals who need it, the trees who need the extra energy. The circle is undone, but never broken. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again. Thank you for joining me.